Hey everybody, it's Eric from EPautos.com, your libertarian car guy. Wondering whether people listening to me are beginning to have some buyer's regret with regard to Trump. I voted for Trump for a variety of reasons. The macro reason being that I hoped that he was going to be better than the alternative that we were presented with on so many scores, including the war score. I, like many of you, had gotten tired of these endless wars that the Biden thing had embroiled the country in, and it seemed like Trump wasn't on board with that. And now it seems that he's changed his mind, having been elected. We're currently at war with Yemen, and we may soon be at war with Iran. And I use the terminology deliberately. We are at war, it's just that it hasn't been declared, which presents an interesting thing in that the Constitution empowers the Congress to declare war. The President is supposed to execute that decision, but it is ultimately the Congress that is supposed to declare war. And we have gotten used to this business of presidents just basically declaring war, just not using the word. Sending bombs and troops and munitions and so on it's a war. It's the fact that it's not called one doesn't mean it isn't one. The Korean War was certainly a war. The Vietnam War was certainly a war. The war on terror was certainly a war, still is, and yet none of those things were declared by Congress. And that's really worrisome. It's not just a pedantic legalism. The Constitution empowered Congress to declare war for a really good reason, which was that it would take a majority of the Congress to approve. In other words, you have to persuade a fairly large number of representatives of the people that this is a good idea before it happens. And that's a lot easier than one man deciding on his own, hey, I'm going to send other people's kids to go fight in a war, which is where we've gotten to now. We've been there for a long time, which is really the thing. It's not that Trump is trotting any new ground here. This is something that Chimp did before him, Obama, Clinton, all of them, going all the way back to LBJ, and then before him to Truman, and then before that to FDR. And in my opinion, you can go all the way back at least to Abe Lincoln, who, after all, did not secure a declaration of war from Congress against the states of the Southern Confederacy when they attempted to leave the Union. He prosecuted that war on his own say-so as a kind of top-hatted American Caesar. And again, we've just gotten used to this. This is the way things are done now, unfortunately. And it seems that the result of it, one result of it, is that every 4 years we decide whether we're going to have Tiberius or Caligula. In other words, we're not going to have a constitutional form of government. We're going to have an elected imperium with an elected imperious leader of some sort, very much analogous to the Roman Caesars, except they want to pretend they're presidents, kind of like Volodymyr Zelensky, the president, air fingers quotes, of Ukraine, who is a president in the same way that Idi Amin was a president of Uganda. Anyway, I'm just feeling a little bit frustrated and saddened, frankly, at the turn of events, at this just endless desire, so it seems, to embroil this country, and more finally to embroil the people, both physically in terms of the youth who are going to get caught up in this meat grinder if it happens, but also morally, in that we're all kind of tacitly complicit, even if we don't want anything to do with it. We're in this horrendous position of having our money taken from us to finance this, contrary to our consent. And again, even though we don't approve of it, we're complicit. Bin Laden had a point. I'm not saying Bin Laden was a good guy. I'm not saying that Bin Laden even did 9/11. But when he talked about how Americans are enabling all of this because we're paying for all of this, he had a valid point. And I really don't know what we can do about that as a practical matter, because, if you don't pay those taxes, you'll wind up in the clink. But maybe that's what it's going to take. At the end of the day, the only way all of this sort of thing stops is when enough of us say enough and refuse to be complicit and compliant. Those are my thoughts this morning on this topic. I'm curious to find out what people out there think about it. I hope you'll swing by EP Autos and drop a comment, and we'll have more for you again soon.